Here's a question from Isan. He says he's created a compound clip with text, but when he duplicates the clip and edits the duplicate, it affects all the other compound clips. And he wants to know if there's a way to unlink or detach them from each other. Let's show him how to do that. Okay, to explain this, let's first recreate the problem and then show how we can fix it. And we'll start out with a very simple method. We'll take a title, we will drag it to the timeline, and we're only going to just include one clip here, just for simplicity's sake. And we're going to call it CC1. Okay, and now we're going to right click on that. We're going to create our compound clip. And I'm going to call the name of the clip itself CC1, only because then it's easy to see here. All right, we're in the middle of our project, and we've created this compound clip, and we'd like to use it again, but we want to change some text in there. So we do a simple copy, and we'll do copy, and we will move to the end, and we will do a paste. So now we have two copies of the same one. We're going to go into this one, and we're going to call it CC2. Okay, we'll just go right here, 2. And we're going to go ahead and go back to the main timeline. So we still have two compound clips. They're called CC1, and the content of it says CC2. We could actually say anything. But we'll notice that it doesn't matter whether we're on this one or whether we're on this one, the content is the same. So anytime we make a change to the clip, it changes. And the other thing about it is we only have one up here. In other words, when we created our first CC1, it was added to our resource panel. So this is important. Remember this. In fact, when we go look at the main timeline, we'll see there's only one entry, when in fact there should be two entries. So why didn't we get a separate entry? Well, that's because it would be the same thing if you had a video clip and you dragged it down twice. The content of it is going to be the same. The only thing is you now have a resource that you can modify. That is, you can go bring it down, you can go in there and you can change the content of it. But you're really changing the content of the original. You're not changing the name, you're not changing the content of a new copy of it. That's the important distinction. And in fact, if you try to rename them by right click and then rename, and then you typed in here, I want to call this one CC2, and now I'll have two separate ones. No, you change the name of this one here, and all of them are named CC2, and you still only have one entry on the timeline, CC2. Okay, so that's the problem. So one little more explanation, and then we'll get into the solution to the problem. First of all, we'll notice that we only had the one entry here. We can, in fact, delete everything we have on the timeline, and we will notice it is still a part of the timeline. And the only way to get rid of it is to actually delete it in the resource panel. So if we delete it from here, we no longer have multiple entries here that we can go in and change. Okay, let's get into the solution. Let's say you're in the middle of your project and you now want to create a compound clip that you can reuse. The first thing you need to do is you need to save whatever your current project is, and then go up and do File, New Project. Okay, that's the only way you're going to be able to do it, because in order to solve this problem, you need to have a clean timeline with nothing on it. Okay, and in fact, we still have this compound clip listed here, and that means it still exists in our in our resource panel. So let's just delete it from here so we do not have anything in there. We need a clean timeline, nothing else there. Okay, so how do we create a compound clip that we can reuse and customize each time we use it? The secret is to create a template. And the secret about templates is that you can have nothing on the timeline at all, because whatever is on the timeline gets included in the custom template. So we start with a clean clean timeline. We have nothing, we have no other compound clips on here. And let's drag down our media that we wish to have on the timeline or in the compound clip. And we're just going to call this one my CC, so we can differentiate it from the others. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the compound clip. Now we assume that you have all your other material in there, whatever's going to be in there. And then we create our compound clip, and we'll call it my CC. Okay, we now have a compound clip. Now we know we can't just copy it because that isn't going to work. But we go up to templates, we go to mine, we drop down to custom. And there's a simple icon right here, save as custom. That's why you don't want anything else on the timeline, because whatever is on the timeline is now going to get incorporated into your custom template. So we'll just simply click this, and it's untitled. And if we wanted to give it a specific name, my CC, you would just go in and do it like that. Okay, we now have a custom template. We can now start our project, or if we had saved our project because we created this new template in the middle of our project, we could go and just start a new project. I'm not going to do that here. But anyway, what you'll notice is that we do have it up here, and it is our unique entry. Now we go to templates, and we drag a new one down. And then we go into this one, and we call this one CC1. Okay, and it's still named my CC, but you'll notice now we have two copies of it on the timeline. So we'll go back to the main one. So this one obviously refers to the first one, and this one refers to the second one. You'll see, okay, first of all, I should demonstrate. This is the my CC, this is my CC1. Now, if you want to differentiate them because you want to be able to easily pick them up on the timeline, just right-click on it, do the rename, and call this one CC1. And now, when we go back and we drop in, we can see the original my CC, and we can see the CC1. So what you want to do is you want to get your new copy from your templates, drop it in, and then change the name if you need to right away. And we'll call this one CC2. And then we will drop into it, and we can, whatever content we want to create here, we can just create here. But basically, we now have three separate entries. We have three separate entries in here. So the secret sauce, the secret to the whole project is to create the custom template. And you know what? This is frequently used, the custom templates. As you can see, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I use the same intro all the time. And here's a cool little secret. Right-click on these. Don't just drag them down if you want to use this intro in the beginning of your project each time. Right-click on it, and look at this. You have an option. You can either add it right to the beginning of the project or add it at the end. And when you do that, you have it right there. Then, now you could go in and you could put your custom title right in there, and it would be different from anything else. Using the same basic compound clip multiple times and not affecting one another is done by creating a custom template.